to Book Bliss. Listen, guys, I want to tell you about this book that I read that was stayed on my mind for a couple of days after I read it. It begins in 1997 with three friends at a college in North Carolina. They meet at college, they quickly become friends, and they're inseparable. We flash forward to 2014, and these people are in their mid-30s now. Let's go back. Abby, Ryan, and Lauren are very good friends. Lauren is this outgoing personality, no great beauty, but just this outgoing personality who has a lot of things going for her, has plans, goals, and knows where she's going. Abby is this reserved, uncertain, kind of timid young woman who is Lauren's roommate. And Lauren takes Abby under her wings and decides that she's gonna help her and nurture her. Eventually, Lauren and Ryan meet in a class and they quickly fall for one another. And Lauren really wants to spend time with Ryan, and Ryan has made it clear that he really wants to spend time with just him and Lauren. But Lauren has nothing to do with that. She does not want Abby excluded in any way. She goes out of her way. When Abby gets into her fits of depression and just wants to be left alone, Lauren is there to drag her out of it. They become fast friends, and Abby knows that she will never be excluded because of Lauren and Ryan's relationship. So as we go through it, Lauren and Ryan fall in love, but Lauren has a internship. Her great goal is to photograph all the waterfalls in the world. She gets this scholarship and this stipend, this grant to go and do all of that. And she leaves. Before she leaves, Ryan asks her to marry him, and he doesn't ask her to stay because he knows that's her great dream and he wouldn't do that to her. So she goes. Well, as it would happen, Ryan loses his father quite suddenly 3 weeks after she left. It was known that Lauren may be inaccessible because of the remote areas she would go to be filming. So she doesn't get there before Ryan's father is laid to rest. However, she does get back. She got back as soon as she could. And when she walks in, she sees her best friend, Abby, seducing her fiance, Ryan. Ryan is drunk as a skunk. He has no idea what he's doing, and Abby took advantage of that. But when Lauren walks in the door, Abby looks her right in the eye and keeps on doing what she was doing. Of course, Lauren is devastated. She turns and walks out, goes to a hotel and stays, thinking that eventually Ryan would come and find her and kind of hash out what's going on. Ryan never came. Lo and behold, Ryan didn't know. The next day, Ryan wakes up, massive hangover, only remember bits and pieces. He was never aware that Lauren walked in on him and Abby. He let Abby know that it was something that should never have happened, that he's sorry it happens, that he does not want to have anything else to do with her. So Abby leaves it alone. She feels humiliated. She felt that she was the one that was there for Ryan, that if Lauren really loved him, she wouldn't have left, even though that was her dream, her dream and her destiny to do this. She would not have left him, and she would have came back sooner to find out what was going on with him. So a month later, she comes back, and guess what? She's pregnant. Ryan doesn't say, to his credit, "Is it my baby?" He just says, "We're going to have to try to figure this out." Lauren never comes back. Remember, Lauren doesn't know that Ryan doesn't know. And Ryan doesn't know why Lauren would just leave him and the love that they had and not communicate with him ever again. So as we progress forward, they didn't get married till 2 years after the baby was born. They did get married. They stayed together, and Ryan has come to love Abby in his own way. Abby has suffered with deep depression all the years they've been married. Guilt will kind of do that to you. In addition to all the unresolved issues she had in her childhood with her mother, all the unresolved issues she had, her insecurities, and she has kind of lived her life in a cycle of up and down and depression. She has a young daughter, a teenage daughter, Juliana, who has kind of felt the consequences of her untreated mental illness, her depression, her cycles of being there and available and being remote and distant. So Ryan comes home one day, and after Abby has found a photograph of the three of them, which she had thought that Ryan had gotten rid of everything that had Lauren in it. And when he sees this she sees this photograph of Ryan and Abby and herself and Lauren and herself, she gets upset because she realizes that Ryan never stopped loving Lauren. She goes in the bathroom, she takes some pills. Now, this is not Abby's first bout at suicide. And Ryan realizes, he busts the door down, and finally she becomes institutionalized on her own will to get some help with this mental illness that she suffered with really her entire life. Lauren, in the meanwhile, has been lived all over the world. She never came back to this town that she loved, her hometown, and incidentally the town that Abby and Ryan settled in. And Lauren has remotely kept in touch with Ryan through newspaper clippings because he's this big football coach. So she kind of knew he was there. She had to come back to finish her photographs of this waterfall in her town. And lo and behold, she runs into Juliana, Ryan and Abby's daughter. And somehow they get to talking, and Lauren makes the connection that Juliana is Ryan's daughter. And Juliana talks about her mother being in the hospital and what was wrong with her. So Lauren decides she is going to go visit Abby. And when she does, she finds out that Abby never told Ryan that she walked in on them, and Ryan never knew. So she gives her this ultimatum: either you will tell him or I will. So Abby's scared to death. She knows that not only did she seduce Ryan, she knows that Lauren walked in, and she let him believe for all these years that Lauren never came back, Lauren never came and contacted him, that she didn't care about him. So she tells him, and of course he is livid. He finds out that Lauren's in town. He goes to see her. He is mad at her. He is mad at Abby. He's mad at everybody at this point because he feels like all decisions were taken out of his hand. So I'm not going to tell you how the story ends, but remember, there's Juliana involved. And the whole time I'm thinking, yeah, he going to leave Abby and him and Lauren going to get together. But how does that work? Lauren has never really got with anybody. Her true love was Ryan, and she was with a guy, and he realized that she never really was going to love him. And so he broke the engagement off. There's a child involved, Juliana, years of marriage. And Ryan just wasn't that kind of guy. He was just not gonna up and divorce Abby. So I'm not gonna tell you how it ends, and I'm not gonna tell you all the other little things. There are so many elements to the story: mental illness, regret, consequences for behavior, consequences for not dealing with issues and just sweeping them under the rug, the abandonment and the alienation that a teenage daughter feels from being in a relationship with a remote mother, a mother who finally tries to get help or does get help for her mental illness and depression. It is really a very compelling, emotional read. You need to read it yourself and find out, did Abby and Ryan stay together and work it out, even though that the trust, the bond, the betrayal between those two, the woman she thought she was, even though for all her flaws, really was much more deceptive than he even believed. And of course, Ryan wasn't faultless. He had his own issues. I really believe as somebody that I loved and I thought loved me, and I had a traumatic event in my life and they never even called to check on me, I'd be tracking them down and like, okay, what's up? You just leave you don't say anything. But he didn't do that. He didn't go after her. He did try to keep in contact with her, but she was so hurt, Lauren never answered his calls. So you need to read a book to find out what happens. Does Abby and Ryan stay together? Do Lauren and Ryan get together? Does Juliana ever forgive her mother for being remote and distant? It really is compelling. It's going to take a turn that you don't see coming at all. It's a great book club book if you belong to a book club, and it really kind of addresses all the issues that we never want to address. The savior complex that Lauren had, the guilt complex that Abby had, the insecurities that Abby had, Ryan kind of stuck in the middle and just kind of letting things go and not wanting to rock the boat. It is a fascinating read. It'll make you really think about issues of mental health, mental incapacities, guilt, the way our actions affect other people in a way that we can't even imagine, and the way a young girl, Juliana, the way she synthesizes all this information and how she carries it on in relationships in her life. I haven't told you, even touched on all the complexities of the story. You'll really have to read it yourself to get all of that. I would say if you read it, you will not be disappointed. If you read it, come on, comment and let me know, because the ending has a twist that you wouldn't expect, and I really want to know what other people think of it. So again, the name of the book is Where We Fall by Rochelle Weinstein. Be blessed and read.